Hello and welcome to another Game Maker guide. This guide will be working again with our ship game, and as you can see, it's become a little bit more interesting. We now have enemies that will shoot at us, and we can shoot back at them, of course, and destroy them, but if the bullets hit us, then we do die. It's not very flashy, but the mechanics are there, and it does have an actual game element of, trying to destroy them before they destroy you. So let's get out of that and get into the actual game here. And this is what we had last time. So first let's add in our sprite, and I created that and saved it earlier, so we'll open that up, change the name to SP enemy, click OK. Now we need to create the enemy object. Enemy. Now the enemy is going to be shooting at us, so we want to create, let me put the sprite here first, we want to create a different bullet for the enemy. Now technically we could reuse this bullet and simply change around a lot of the variables and how the bullet actually works, but it's generally easier just to make a new object. So that's what we're going to do. If you right click on the bullet object, you can actually choose duplicate. That's what we want to do right now, because a lot of this we want to keep. So we'll change that name to enemy bullet. And let's first go into the create script here, the create code. The direction now needs to be straight down instead of straight up. And so that's a 180 degree angle difference, which comes to 270. 270 altogether. So 270 will be straight down. We're also going to want to change the speed, because at a speed of 10 the bullets are very fast and very difficult to dodge. So we'll go down to 4. Next we want to change the object target here, because right now it's set to destroy the target objects. So we'll push the change button down here and change that to be a collision with the object ship, which is your ship. So now when the enemy bullet hits your ship, it will destroy the bullet and destroy your ship. We'll leave the outside room like it is, because outside room is anywhere outside, whether it's the top or the bottom, so that will destroy the enemy bullets as well when they go below the window. So that's what we want. Now we go back into our object enemy, and here we can also copy and paste several things. If we go into our object target, we can actually copy this code here and add the create object over here and paste it in. So what we have here is the direction and the speed. So basically at the beginning of the game, the ships will start moving around just like the targets at a random direction and at the same speed. That's what we want. So we'll say OK. Again, like the targets, we want the enemy ships to bounce off of our blocks that are surrounding the top of the window. So again, Control C, add event, collision, object block, Control V, and we can see that that's move, bounce, all. So that's what we want. So now if we go into our room, I'll take out a bunch of these targets here just so they're not filling up the screen. We'll choose our object enemy. We'll place a few of these in here. So now we can start the game, and basically our enemy objects are going to act just like our targets. They're going to move around, they're going to bounce around, but right now there's no real difference to them from the targets. Our bullets won't actually kill them yet, but they move the same as the targets. So let's go back into the object enemy, and what we want to do here is basically have the same concept as we have with our ship and the way that our ship fires, but instead of the space bar, we have the enemy automatically fire whenever it is able to. So let's go into our object ship here, and we want to go into the creation code, because we don't want to simply copy and paste this piece of code. We could, but it just causes a lot of clutter to have a lot of different codes in the line here. There's no real reason to do it. So let's just go into the create code for our object enemy, and on a new line here we'll paste shoot, and shoot equals 0, same as on our object ship. Now a difference here, actually no, wait, we're not going to do that yet. We're going to say OK, and we'll go into our object ship, and in the step event we want to copy this. So we'll copy this and then add a step event for our enemy, paste it in here, and that's the shoot minus equals 1. So that will constantly count down, and when it reaches 0 we want the enemy ship to fire. So we'll go back into our object ship, which is us, our little guy, and we will double click on the space button, spacebar code, copy all of that inside of the curly brackets, go back into our object enemy, and here in our step event, new line, we will paste it in. So if shoot equals 0, we're going to create a bullet, and right now it has a gunfire being created, but the gunfire image won't really work for our enemy ship. We could make another one for our enemy ship perfectly easily, but for right now we're just going to comment that out. So what I did there is have 2 forward slashes, and I could simply delete this if I wanted to. This is a good time to show you what forward slash does. You can see that the line here after the forward slash has now turned green, and that means that it's now a comment. And we do that so we can add a comment, and that helps us to understand what our script is actually doing, and helps other people to understand what our script is actually doing, because sometimes these can get very big and very complex, and it becomes difficult to remember what exactly a line does. And so this is how you add a comment. This is also a really easy way to change something complicated. You're not really sure what if it's going to work or not. So I could, for instance, create a new line here, and I could start doing different things to this line, and then if I comment this top line out, I could very easily revert back to this original line if this new one has some sort of error or it doesn't really do what I want it to do. And so then I could just comment this out and take these comments out, and I'm right back to my original. So that's a very easy way to change things around in a very safe manner in case you do something wrong or you break something. And I do that very commonly. So instance create, we want to change this to the enemy bullet, leave the X, Y the same, and then the shoot we're going to want to increase. Let's go to 45, because otherwise it'll be shooting very rapidly and it'll be very difficult to avoid. So we'll click OK there, and now the ship is creating the enemy bullet, and the enemy bullet is going to destroy our ship when it hits it. So we'll say OK there. Let's go back into our object bullet, and let's copy the collision event code and add event for the collision with the enemy ship and paste that in there. So now our bullets will destroy the enemy ship and the targets both the same. So let's play that and see what we have so far. And as you can see, the enemy ships all shoot at me. But something that I don't like is that all the ships shoot at the exact same time. That just doesn't look good to me. So we can shoot here, we can destroy the ships, everything else works fine, but the enemy ships all fire at the exact same time, and that just looks kind of silly to me. So we can change that pretty simply. Let's go back into the enemy object, and in the create event, there are a couple ways to do this, but a very simple way, and one that uses a variable, is in the create event we could create a variable called weight, and weight is going to equal, let's say, 60 for right now. In fact, actually we need to move the shoot. I'm going to cut that and paste it below the weight. Now we are going to use the random function again, and this time we are going to put weight inside the random, inside the brackets here. So inside the parentheses here, it is going to randomize the number between 0 and whatever number we give. But right now we're referencing a variable. We're referencing weight, and weight equals 60. So we're going to get a random number between 0 and 60 because of this variable. And I'll show you why we used a variable here and not simply the number 60. We're going to want to go back into our step event, and when shoot equals 0, and so the enemy actually fires, we're going to have shoot equal random weight again. So now when the gun is ready to fire again, it will choose a number randomly between 0 and 60. And so then when we want to change that again, we can go back into our create event and just change this weight. Now here it would probably be easier just to have it be solely in the step event, but a lot of times we're going to use the same variable over and over, and when we want to make changes to that variable, it's much easier to simply have it in the create event, and we can change it once instead of changing it over and over and over again later on in our script. So let's play that and give it a shot. And as you can see, the enemies now fire randomly. Sometimes they'll wait a long time, sometimes they'll shoot very rapidly, but it's a much more random event, and it doesn't look strange. So there you go. We have added enemies, we have them shoot, and now the bullets will kill us. Although, let's go back one more time, because the bullets didn't actually kill me that time, because I'm far, far too good at this game. I am pretty uber elite. But as you can see, if the bullet hits me, I die. And there we go. So that is the next step in the ship game we have here.